Welcome everybody. Welcome to a new episode of AZ Security. My name is Dinan Paardenkoper and I'm a cloud architect. And today I have a special guest and that is Shruti Ailani from Microsoft. Can you shortly introduce yourself?
Yes, of course. So first of all, Danand, thank you so much for inviting me on your channel. Uh,
You're welcome.
I'm thrilled to be here with you, and also very happy to be sharing my message and sharing my experiences with people today. I am by designation the global black belt at Microsoft, and probably that title will change gradually as Microsoft enters its new fiscal year. There are lots of reorganizations happening, which are very, very exciting. Very, very new and exciting changes are coming up. But as of now, I am a global black belt. What that means is somebody who is focusing on one piece of technology, goes very, very deep, has connections with product group, and thereby can relay any feature requests or product shaping requests from customers to our product teams. So
So
that's who I am in a nutshell, professionally speaking. Personally, I'm based out of the Netherlands, living in Amsterdam.
in Amsterdam, well, that's very close to the headquarters of Microsoft
Mhm.
themselves,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah, indeed.
Cool. And today we're going to talk about Security Copilot and then in advanced automation. So could you explain what it is?
Yeah, absolutely. So, Security Copilot is a SaaS application in the world of generative AI. Well, I think artificial intelligence or AI is a buzzword these days. However, when it comes to Gen AI, there are many different players in the market, and the Microsoft brand for generative AI SaaS application is called Copilot. Under that one brand name of Copilot, there are multiple different Copilots released. For example, GitHub Copilot, Power Platform Copilot, Dynamics Copilot, and one of them is also Security Copilot. Security Copilot is basically your Gen AI application using which you can trigger, or rather, I would say, modernize a lot of your security operations and beat the adversaries who are also using AI, by the way, these days. So, to be at par, or rather one step ahead, you would probably need Security Copilot, and it has multiple advantages, which we will talk about today.
Definitely, definitely, yeah. And before we start, how long do you work already with Security Copilot?
So I have been with the solution since it was launched. So that's pretty much from the genesis of the solution, which is about 2.5 to 3 years now.
Okay,
However, formally within this title, I have been with Security Copilot for about a year.
a
But
year.
informally, I used to do Copilot related engagements quite a lot in the past. So I would say overall tenure wise, it's been 2.5 to 3 years, including my trainings on LLMs and Gen AI. It's that period.
Cool, cool. Yeah, that sounds very required nowadays.
Mhm. Indeed.
Yeah, just wondering what you're going to tell us for today.
Mhm. Yeah, indeed. So I think for today, it would be really nice to discuss generative AI overall, bit of Security Copilot. What are the advantages of Security Copilot? What are the overall, let's say, potential disadvantages of any Gen AI solutions and what we should look out for? And eventually, I would also love to give you a mini demo, which is like a sneak peek into what's coming up in the future.
Cool. Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah. Okay, great. So let me quickly share with you my screen so that I can land the story much better. So, for those of you who know Security Copilot, maybe a quick recap before we jump into the advanced automations. Well, Security Copilot, when it was released about 2.5 to 3 years ago, we started with a standalone platform, which is basically more of an engineering platform for Security Copilot. That's where you could write your own prompt books, write your own automations, do your own connectivity with Microsoft or non Microsoft brands through plugins. That's also where you could manage your own role based access control model. This standalone solution basically had its eyes and ears into all the different solutions that you connect with, the underlying security solutions in specific. be they from Microsoft ecosystem or be they from non-Microsoft ecosystem. Then gradually, there was, of course, a need to also provide the customers with a platform that required less engineering, was more intuitive, was more out of the box, and a user could potentially quickly interact with the generative AI application. So that's when we also launched Embedded. With that mindset, with that philosophy, we launched it within multiple different Microsoft security solutions, and hence the name Embedded. What it means is that Security Copilot was embedded or sprinkled into Microsoft Entra, Microsoft Purview, Microsoft Defender XDR, Microsoft Sentinel, as long as that is a part of the unified SecOps platform. So a lot of customers really enjoyed that low effort engineering platform wherein they could directly prompt. The third section that you see here is related to automation. This developed gradually, and we came up with a lot of out of the box use cases that inspired our customers to create their own custom use cases. And this was a big, big leap when it comes to the automation story. And this was released around Ignite, Microsoft's annual event that happens in November, December timeframe last year. So, with respect to these automations, we unleashed the power of um, triggering Security Copilot prompt books, which by themselves are like a run book for an analyst or for a particular persona, and also to generate Copilot responses and mobilize them or channelize them through emails, through incident enrichment, and through many other capabilities. So, having said that, this was the story so far, and this story in itself had a few limitations, because of which we went one step ahead and we released agents. So, let's understand what part of the story we were missing until here and why we have released agents. So, whatever automations we had until November, December, first of all, they had limitation in terms of taking actions. That means Security Copilot could take very few actions. It could execute only the predefined tasks. That means if you, let's say, give it a specific set of rules or specific configuration, it would every time go and execute those tasks. To take an example, let's say if you're trying to investigate a particular vulnerability or you're trying to do vulnerability analysis plus remediation and thereby doing an overall vulnerability management, it would go and execute your predefined tasks and rules on multiple CVE IDs that you keep providing it as part of that automation. However, it would not have much of business context. It would not know things like, oh, this could be a potentially high severity vulnerability, but probably the customer is going to decommission that particular server, and hence there is not much impact.
Yeah,
So
you're missing the intelligence basically. From
exactly,
the,
exactly. You're missing the organizational context, you're missing the intelligence. Well, I would say it was semi automation, not a full automation. You did have intelligence. However, you did not have complete intelligence to operate more independently or operate in a more data driven fashion. It was more rule driven, pre configuration driven. It was not really data driven. So, for instance, if tomorrow in an organization, the vulnerability context would move, or let's say a standard user, let's say a medium risk user would eventually become a high risk user due to certain activities. You would probably manually have to go and check those rule sets, which is not the case with agents anymore. So, of course, agents do operate more independently, they are more data driven, they are very, very highly adaptable. That means they are continuously learning from you or the people that you specify, the people who run the agent, the people who teach the agent their organization's context. And they are, let's say, stateful compared to the prior automations that were stateless. That means the state of a particular conversation would be maintained only for the duration of the session. When your session would be closed, the state would not be maintained. However, with AI agents, they do have a memory of their own, and thereby they are able to maintain a context.
And if you're saying a memory on their own, how is that stored, that memory?
Great question, and I believe a lot of people who are listening to this video, they would have exactly the same question. We store all the context in agent's memory, which is basically a part of the user's own tenant. It is completely incompliant, or rather, I would say, adheres when it comes to the compliances related to EU GDPR practices or EU data boundaries. So nothing goes to Microsoft, nothing goes to train the model without consent. By default, it's completely opted out, and all of your business context, your agent memory, everything remains in your own tenant, or rather, a user's tenant.
Okay.
Yeah. And last part that I really want to touch upon is autonomy, because in a world where we talk a lot about responsible AI, I think a lot of AI users are apprehensive of the level of autonomy that the agents will have. They are at times worried about whether an agent would make unauthorized changes in their environment, or how much in control they would be. And that's where I would like to also surface this point that agents, Microsoft Security Copilot agents, come with proper configurations, proper guardrails to avoid these kind of scenarios. You can provide them partial autonomy or full autonomy. You can also drive scenarios wherein the agent does its research, brings you the entire organization's context, tells you this is where you're missing things in your policies or in your configurations. This is what I suggest you do. Shall I go ahead and do it on your behalf, or would you like to review it first?
It's like an
And
advisor then.
advisor with the ability to take actions, but not autonomous actions, not actions that are not approved by you. Because it's highly possible that you have more of a business context than a technology driven agent. Something that I will also cover in my demo shortly.
I think this is also a topic which a lot of security people are asking, like, if there are agents and they have the authority to do so,
Mhm.
how do I keep track on those
Yeah,
agents, right? I mean,
yeah,
if an hacker is getting behind the seat, then
yeah.
they have a lot of power to the hands.
Absolutely, 100%. So it's important to drive security with AI, but it's also important to put another layer of security on top of that AI that governs that AI, that controls that AI. And there is
Correct.
phenomenal work that Microsoft is doing in this area. You'll hear about it in the upcoming weeks and months. But do look out for these two terms: securing something with AI and securing the AI itself.
Okay.
Mhm. So, shall we dive into the demo?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. Yes,
Okay,
please.
great. So, just for everyone's information, Microsoft has released these six agents, and there are also other agents that are being built by the partner organizations of Microsoft. So, first one, as you can see, it's a phishing triage agent. This is an agent that works with Defender XDR. The second and third agents are data loss prevention alert triage agent and insider risk management alert triage agent. These two agents work within Purview. The fourth one is conditional access optimization agent. This one works with Entra. The endpoint vulnerability remediation agent works with Intune. There is threat intelligence briefing agent that drives telemetry from various different solutions. And towards the end, as I mentioned, there are some partner built agents. Now, having said that, I would love to bring to this video today a conditional access optimization agent that works with Entra, because that's the one that's, uh, let's say, market's favorite. Customers are loving it. So I feel it should reach more and more people as we go ahead on this agentic AI journey together.
Yeah, yeah, please. I mean, conditional access is also a very powerful security feature.
Yeah,
It can make you, it can break you
yeah,
if you do not do the changes correctly.
indeed, indeed.
So it's cool that there is a specific agent nowadays to help you see the gaps
Yeah.
in your conditional access.
Indeed. And I think it's also worthwhile to note that customers can build their own agents very soon with the security, let's say Copilot Studio and Azure AI Foundry. These are two very, very powerful solutions wherein customers can go and create their own. And those can we will very soon release a capability through which they will also be able to connect it with Security Copilot.
Cool.
So until then, we do have these out of the box agents. And let me now move on to the demo on conditional access optimization agent.
Cool. Yeah, I'm seeing your screen. I'm seeing Ezra
Great.
Home, so that's good.
Amazing. So this, of course, is the intro screen. I believe most of the viewers are going to be familiar with this. Now, in the top section, you will see that Security Copilot agents are here, and that's where you can actually go to agents. And when you go there, you will be able to see all the different agents that are built within Entra by Microsoft product group, as well as your own in due time. So the first one that has been released is a conditional access optimization agent, but in future there will be more that will cover that white space.
Okay.
Now, the first level of transparency is offered to the users through this view detail section. In here, you can see that the permissions that this agent will require. So initially, you can see that it requires read access to user for users, devices, and applications. It does require read and write access for uh, user groups, conditional access policies, etc. This is, of course, appropriate, and this is the very purpose of this nature. This is the whole intent behind this agent, because it needs to be able to create those policies, create those user groups on your behalf in order to take action on your behalf when it finds a misconfiguration or potential lack of coverage of conditional access policy.
And is there also a possibility that you can say, like, well, those 5 policies you can use and the other 10 policies do not touch? Or is it all or
Yes.
nothing?
That's a very good question, and that's indeed possible. You can scope the agent to specific policies, indeed.
Okay. Yeah, just just wondering, just popping up.
No problem. Of course, it's a very good question. Next, you can also see that we have clearly mentioned that this agent will run using your own identity. That means the user who is setting up this agent, who is the admin, or probably some other user who is a Security Copilot contributor, will be able to provide their own identity to this agent. So this agent would run under their identity. For example, if Dinant is setting up and running this agent, then this agent will fall under Dinant's activities. In future, we are going to also provide a mechanism wherein this agent will have its own identity.
Okay.
That means you will be able to manage this access much better through, let's say, service principal or through managed identities.
I think that would be a great improvement,
Yeah,
since a
indeed.
lot of
So
services are running under user system managed identities.
indeed, indeed. And even until then, until we release that, you do have all the audit logs, all the activities that will be captured in Purview. So it is possible to tell what are the actions taken by Dinant, the human being, and what are the actions taken by Dinant, the agent. So let's say you're covered from that perspective. However, of course, managed identity piece or service principal piece will definitely make it a lot better.
Okay, cool.
And towards the end, you can see the products and the plugins that this agent is going to use. Let's say you are fine with all these settings, and then you want to go ahead and start this agent in your environment. Now, when you click on Start the Agent, you will initially see that there are no suggestions created by this agent. However, once this agent runs, it is going to scan your entire tenant for any new identities. And when I say identities, I mean users as well as applications for the last 24 hours. Now, once it's done scanning your environment for the last 24 hours, you will see that it checks all the new activities, it checks all the policy drifts, it checks all the existing policies that you have in your environment. And based on that analysis or evaluation done with the help of artificial intelligence, it does suggest you the next steps. In this case, you can see two next steps that came out of this entire evaluation or analysis by the agent.
Hmm.
You can also see the review suggestions button towards the extreme right. Now, let's look at them one by one. The first suggestion is to add 16 users to an existing policy. And the second suggestion is to turn on a new report only policy for 47 users who are probably not being covered by the device compliance policy as suggested here.
One question
Yep.
before we continue.
Mhm.
Is that you mentioned it's seeing the new activities from the last 24 hours?
Mhm.
Does that mean that he also looks to older accounts or systems you have enabled in the past?
Um, so far, and that's actually something that we're hearing from a lot of customers.
Hmm.
So far, it has the capability to go back 24 hours. Maybe in future, if we have a lot of customer voices who want this agent to go much further in the past, then we will also be able to collect those requests and then send it to our product group. And if they feel that the voice is strong enough, amplified enough by a lot of customers, then they will also be able to work on that feature to go further back. So
Okay,
far, it goes back 24 hours.
so it's only checking the last activities from there.
Last activities in your entire tenant.
Yeah,
That means the users or identities added in the last 24 hours, as well as any policy drifts or issues or misconfigurations in the last 24 hours.
exactly. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, clear.
Great. Now, if we go to, let's say, review suggestions on the first one, then you will see a screen like this. And here, let me go one step back just so that we are able to capture everything. So, here on the screen, you see that the agent has completed its run. The agent suggestion is that it found 16 new users that are not in scope of any conditional access policy that requires an MFA. Now, this is not a good configuration, and that's why the agent has gone ahead and created a new group of users. And it has identified that this policy, MFA for engineering, is an existing policy that this group can be added to. So you can see the level of artificial intelligence that is deployed here. The agent by itself knows what is the best suited policy for this new group of users through having collected all the details from Entra. Now, from this point, you have three paths. First, you can blindly go and apply suggestions. If you trust what this agent is doing is correct in your environment, you can simply click apply suggestions. Or you could choose to review the policy changes. You could choose to review everything that the agent is going to perform in your environment and then approve. Or you could choose to view the agent's full activity. That means the agent's entire logic or agent's entire mind map that led it to this conclusion. Now, let's explore all these three one by one.
Okay.
So let's say if I go into agent's full activity, then this is the kind of decision tree or mind map that you're provided with. You can see here that the agent says, okay, there are 34 new users, three new apps that are protected by the policy. These are following the best practice. You don't need to do anything over here. However, there is something going on here that needs your attention. And based on this evaluation, it was able to come up with those suggestions. So, bottom line is that this entire decision tree is available at your disposal. You can see exactly where when the agent started running, and you can see exactly what are the various types of decisions activities that the agent went through. It checked zero trust best practices. It did a complete analysis of your environment, and thereafter it released those suggestions.
Could you change something in between?
Mhm.
You mentioned that the AI proposed a new group.
Mhm.
Uh, could I also add them to an existing group, for instance?
Yes, of course, you can do that. And that's also something that I will cover shortly. But
Okay.
long answer short, yes, it's possible.
Okay.
So now let's see the second part, which is reviewing the policy or reviewing the changes that the agent is suggesting. So for that, let's click on this review policy button. And when we click here, you will see that it shows the same blade on the right hand side. Let's click on review policy changes. And this is where you can see what kind of changes it is going to make if you apply the suggestion or if you approve it. So you can see the policy name at top. It is Conditional Access 3 or CA3, MFA for engineering. The status of this policy is turned on. The included users or the guest users, external users, everything is shown to you in a crystal clear format. You can also see the users and the user groups that it created. So you can, of course, go in there, make changes, and then apply suggestions, or you can directly take the agent suggestion. You can also see the overall posture or the overall configuration of this policy. You can already look at the kind of users that are excluded, the cloud applications, actions, requirements for access, everything in one screen without you having to go through a lot of trouble or go to different screens in order to apply those or like check the policy end to end on a different screen.
Yeah, that's very nice that you don't have to click around, so to
Yeah,
speak. It's all in one pane of glass.
indeed. And having said that, there is also a JSON view available for all these policy changes. So if need be, you could simply take this JSON and make your changes in here as well, or make those small tweaks where you don't agree with the agent and then supply this to the agent, or you could also then go and apply those suggestions manually. The bottom line being, you don't have to start from scratch. The entire analysis is done for you. JSON, policy changes, mind maps, everything is available to you until this point.
This is a very nice add-on also for people or organizations that have big automation teams. Basically, have the complete sentences
Yeah,
and then just push it in their automation. So that's a very nice add-on, definitely.
indeed. And then let's say if you want to apply suggestions, then you click on apply suggestions and you will see a notification on top right that pops up. It says, okay, suggestion applied. And when this happens, if you go to your overview page, you will see that the first suggestion is already reviewed by the user and has already been applied. Now there is a chance for the user to look at the second suggestion, review all the changes, and then go ahead and apply if need be. I would also love to show you one more cool thing, which is in settings. So here you can see the trigger. So this there is a trigger that users can set. Right now on the screen, you can only see the 24 hours. That means this agent will run on a 24-hour basis. If it ran today at 8 a.m., it will automatically run tomorrow at 8 a.m. again, unless you go ahead and turn this trigger off. Now, I'm sure, Dinant, you're going to ask me, can we customize this? And a lot of
Of
our
course.
customers, yeah, and a lot of our customers have already parked that request with us. So, as we develop this agent in the future, you will see that our users will be able to customize this as well. So that means they can choose whether they want this agent to run on a weekly basis, monthly basis, twice a day. It's completely up to them.
Yeah, I think that will be a significant advancement on this
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, indeed. Down below, you can also see if you only want users to be in scope or you also want application identities to be in scope, you want both of them or one of them. You can also see what aspects of a policy you want this agent to evaluate, whether you only wanted to evaluate MFA, authentication strength, device compliance, all of them, combination of them. So all of those customizations are possible. And something that is my favorite as a feature is what you see on at the bottom. So let's scroll down. It's under custom instructions. Now, this part is optional, but it is very, very powerful. This is where you can add your own custom instructions. So, for example, you can teach the agent your organization's nomenclature. You can always say that when I create a new group, this is the nomenclature I follow. When I create a policy, this is the nomenclature I follow. or you can already tell the agent not to include certain types of users or user accounts or identities in its regular evaluations. To give you an example of this, let's say I go ahead and say exclude the users that have admin break glass group membership. So in that case, this instruction is recorded in agent's memory. And
Mhm.
it's not a dumb English language comment. It's actually a smart comment that is read by the LLM in the natural language supplied by the user. It is broken down semantically, it is understood semantically, and when the agent runs next time, it does take these custom instructions into account.
Okay, nice.
Yeah. So this way, you can teach the agent, and let's say if today you start your conditional access optimization agent, and I also start running that agent in my environment, then after a month, your agent could look very very different from my agent because you have coached it differently, and I have coached it differently. So eventually, it does adapt the persona of, let's say, a team member in your organization.
I can imagine. Just another question that's popping up. For instance, if I just run this again, would I get the same recommendations? Is it always giving the same results, basically? Because AI can differ on the response, right?
Yeah, absolutely. However, so you're absolutely right when you say AI can differ in its responses. However, factually, it is going to be the same if unless your environment undergoes a change. So
Of
let's say
course.
you did not make any change in your organization's policies, users, identities, there are no new users added, and you run the agent again, then it is going to factually come up with the same recommendations and suggestions unless there is a change that automatically happens in your organization, or let's say if you feed a new custom instruction.
True, true. I mean, then it's how do you say that? That's a change in your environment.
Indeed.
I was just curious, like there's a lot of messages around, like if you're asking AI the same question, you always get a different answer,
Yeah.
or at
Yeah.
least it could be, right?
Yeah.
But if I'm looking to the scope, which you have shown and mentioned in the display,
Mhm.
it cannot answer other than the same result, at least looking to the modifications, what is happening in the environment.
Yeah, well, I think we should keep in mind that this is not prompting. Usually, when we prompt to Security Copilot, it may come up with different responses,
Right.
but they are factually consistent. They may be different in terms of language, just like a human being responds differently to, hey, how are you today? Right? If you ask that question every day, maybe a human being will come up with different answers. So during prompting, it's more widely accepted that yes, AI could come up with different answers. But here we are not prompting anything. This is simply an agent that is doing its task based on the configurations that you have set up. So
Right.
there's very little scope for, let's say, different responses, inconsistent responses, unless there is policy drift in your environment happening.
Exactly, exactly. So that's making basically use cases of questions that you're asking your environment, right?
Yeah, indeed.
Cool. Yeah, that looks promising. It helps in getting answers quicker, I
Yeah,
can say.
indeed.
Yeah.
100%. And imagine how this agent is actually shrinking the risk window of an organization because I come from a very long audit background. And when I used to audit different tech giants, they used to say, oh, this is an accepted risk for a month, or rather, we do our access reviews on a monthly basis. Some do it on a quarterly basis, some do it on a 6-month basis. So imagine if they're running this agent, their risk window is really shrinking from 6 months down to whatever is the run frequency of this agent, or even from 1 month to maybe the run frequency of this agent. So that's where it actually removes that risk from the organization.
Cool. And you mentioned logging, like who's done what? Where is that being provisioned?
Great question. So, all the logging related to Security Copilot and its agents happens in Purview.
Okay.
Yeah, Microsoft Purview is your solution if you want to check the entire audit log.
True. Yeah. Yeah. You mentioned that as well. Oops.
No problem, no problem. Happy to resurface it.
True.
Let's say we save the configurations of this agent and we proceed forward. Then this is what the settings look like, of course. But I also want to show you little bit of KPIs. So maybe under the performance highlight section, you can see unprotected users that were discovered by this agent and the sign-ins that were protected by this agent. So over time, you can evaluate how much of an ROI this agent is bringing to your own organization or to your environment, so that you can better tune the frequency at which this agent runs for you, or you could let's say understand how much of a difference it is making to your environment.
Cool. Yeah. Yeah.
And of course, there are lots of requests coming in to add more parameters to performance highlights. So you will see those things. You will see a much more enhanced KPI level performance highlights section in the upcoming weeks and months over the next few iterations of this agent.
Yeah. I think this will grow on demands.
Yeah,
What is being
yeah,
feedback to the product teams as well.
yeah, indeed. So that's what I had for you as far as the demo and like some of the briefings around agents are concerned.
Yeah.
Uh,
Thanks. It looks very promising. Are there any disadvantages what you've seen so far, looking back?
you mean of
If I,
agents in particular or Gen AI overall?
well, maybe both.
Okay, great. I'm happy you asked me that question. Well, as an artificial intelligence professional, I would say AI by itself is not 100% there, and there are multiple reasons to fear AI. um, let's say there are ways in which the AI could be attacked itself. There are ways to jailbreak certain AI applications. There are ways to, let's say, do cross prompt injection attacks. There are ways to manipulate AI. So indeed, attackers are also going to not only use AI to breach security, but they are also going to breach your own AI products. So that is going to be an ongoing attempt. And uh, to safeguard against those efforts, Microsoft has launched multiple initiatives internally to provide those guardrails around AI. So, for example, we have our own red team that tests all these AI applications before they are launched. There are multiple different mechanisms that I don't think I should speak about on a public platform because we want to keep that as an IP. It's not good to always disclose the defenses that you have deployed. I will share the link with you. There are lots of papers available on what Microsoft is doing in terms of securing their own AI.
Yeah.
And like I mentioned briefly in the beginning, you will see in the future things like Defender for AI, Purview for AI, Entra for AI. So that means AI is not only helping these underlying solutions to achieve more, but these solutions are in a circular fashion protecting your AI as well, which is something like one of a kind. It blows my mind how Microsoft was able to be an early thinker, early adopter of this philosophy. And you will see a lot of enhancements and advancements.
Cool. Thank you very much. Can't wait what Microsoft is going to provision next in the AI agents. Are
Mhm.
there other agents coming soon? Do you know, or can you share maybe?
Yeah, indeed. So the six agents that I shared earlier, most of them are available for our customers to try out today. So, for example, the Entra conditional access agent that we discussed elaborately, that is available for customers to try out. The Purview DLP and IRM alert triage agents are both available. Vulnerability remediation agent, threat briefing agent are also available, but they are in public preview right now, so they are one step behind. And last but not the least, the phishing triage agent. Well, honestly, Dinant, a lot of my customers are waiting for that agent. That agent was in private preview earlier with some of our design partner customers. we actually were able to collect a lot of feedback, and we are incorporating that feedback in the product design, and that will go into public preview, or rather gated public preview, which means nomination based public preview for our customers very soon. I'll keep you
Okay.
informed on that, or maybe it will be a news on my LinkedIn, maybe on your channel, so our viewers can go catch that news once it's released. But right now, that particular agent is in private preview.
Okay. Cool.
So that's the
Um,
status overall of the agents.
nice. Nice. Well, if it's becoming available, maybe you want to share your story again.
Absolutely, happy to be here. Happy to be here.
Cool. Do you want to give something to the viewers? Maybe how do you getting started?
Yeah, indeed. So I would say getting started is fairly simple. Unlike many other complex solutions, Copilot is really easy to turn on. All you need to do is turn it on through your Azure portal. Uh, on your Azure portal, you can actually go ahead and provision Security Copilot capacity, which means you can decide how many SCUs or security compute units you want to use in order to run Copilot. Just do some privacy settings and turn it on. It's ready to use in both standalone and embedded versions from there on. It takes under 10 minutes to set it up. However, if any of the viewers is unfamiliar with the concept of SCUs or the billing model, then please feel free to reach out to me.
All right. Thank you. We will do. Um, let's round up then for today. I want to thank you a lot for the explanation and for your great demo. It's for me also cool to investigate what this new functionality can deliver. And for now, I would say have a nice evening. Until next time. Take
Thank
care.
you so much, Dhanant, for having me over. And you're doing great work. I've seen some of your other videos also on your YouTube channel. They're all amazing. So thank you so much for having
Thank
me,
you.
and see you next time.
Till next time. Take
Mhm.
care.
Take care.